Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, I'm going to show you how to trim out a garage door opening using PVC board and PVC brick mold. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house, saving a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and ring the bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video. Let's get started. Before you go buy material, you need to check the thickness of your opening. This opening is 6 inches thick. And that's because it's made out of a 2x6 with a piece of 1/2 inch sheathing covering the outside. And what you need to note is there's going to be a 2x6 board and 1/2 inch drywall that's going to wrap around the inside of the opening. The wall is going to be padded out another 2 inches. So you need to take the thickness of your opening and add at least 1.5 inches. So that's how I came up with using a piece of 3/4 by 8 inch wide board. So this is material I'm going to be using to wrap this garage door opening. And after I wrap it, I'm going to trim the outside of the opening using this PVC brick mold. So let's go ahead and start with the top piece and wrap the inside of the opening using this piece of PVC board. First thing you need to do is get a measurement from the inside of the opening. So just butt your tape measure up against the upper part here, come across and measure to the opening on this side. And in this case, it's 10 foot 1/2 inch. What I like to cut the trim boards with is a miter saw. That way it gives you a nice square cut and it's quick. What I like to do, since I work by myself, I'm just going to shoot a scrap block here around the middle of the opening. And the reason why I do this is when I hold the board up here, I can just butt it up to this block, and I know I'm flush with the outside of the wall because that's what we want. Now all we got to do is lift this board and press it tight against the top and butt it against our little block we just put in. And I'm using this nail gun. It's a finish nailer. You may have to use regular trim nails depending on what tools you have and don't have. But this is a little more expensive than the regular hammer nail, but it's so nice and convenient. All right, and now what you do, every about 16 inches, put 2 or 3 nails going across the inside of that opening. That is the top piece installed. Now it's time to do the sides. Now that we got our top wrapped, we got to wrap the sides now. And because your concrete's going to be sloped away from the house, the degree in which it slopes is going to vary house to house. So the best thing I found to do is just take a scrap piece of your material you're using, lay it into the opening as if it's going to be installed there. And you're going to notice it's going to be cracked up higher than on one side compared to the other. So we got about a 1/4 inch gap here to nothing. So take another scrap piece of material. It could be anything as long as it's straight and flat. Lay it up to that board and just scribe a line onto the piece that's laying against your opening. And this is going to give you the angle in which the bottom is going to need cut. So let's get started. So the easiest way to set your miter box to that angle is just lay it up here as if you're going to cut it, and then adjust your miter box to match that angle. So sometimes you might have to make a cut while you're looking for the correct angle to make sure it follows the line. So let's go ahead and see if this is the right angle. All right, and if we look here, it looks like the angle is following the line that we made correctly. So we know we have it set correctly on the miter box, and we'll lock it into place. So now in order to measure this piece, let's measure from this side up to the very top where it butts into the top board. And make sure you know that's going to be the low point, not the high point of the board before you cut it. So same thing as you did up top. Make sure you're flush to the outside of the house, and make sure your top is tight as well. So that looks good about right there. Tack a nail. And again, if you don't have a gun like this, just get the 2-inch galvanized finish nails. They don't have heads on them. You just drive them in flush, and then you just take a little bit of caulk to go over them. This leaves such a small hole, I'll show you up close in just a second, that you may be able to get away without caulking it, but that's up to you. All right, now go ahead, just line everything up correctly and just keep nailing it off. I like to nail it about every every 16 inches or so. If you look real close, that is a very small hole that little finish nailer leaves. But if you look here, we got this wrapped. There's nothing wrong with that. So now what we need to do, oh, I don't mean to brag, but look at that cut at the bottom. I mean, that looks pretty darn good. But now what we need to do next, we need to go ahead and get brick mold and go ahead and wrap the outside of this with the PVC brick mold next. So when it comes to brick mold, always do the sides first, each side, and then we do the top after the sides. So what I like to do is take a speed square and mark 1/4 inch on each, the top and bottom piece. So that way it gives me a nice reveal without having to guess where our reveal is going to stop. So now we pull a measurement from the bottom of the PVC board to that mark right here that we just made for 1/4 inch. So in other words, just measure from the bottom of this PVC board all the way up to that 1/4 inch mark we made on the top board. And that's going to be the measurement for our brick mold. All right, so here's the piece of brick mold we need. And our measurement is 96 1/4. Now this is where you got to pay attention because that is to the inside of the 45 degree. So you just mark 8 foot 1/4 in this case, and our 45 is going to be angled this way. So just turn your 45 on your miter saw, slide it up to that mark, hold it tight against the fence. Voila, we have the piece of brick mold ready to install. So all we got to do, slide this up to the top mark and then hold it over to the other 1/4 inch mark we made. So once you have it looking about right, just put one nail in this corner and that's going to hold it into place. And now keep that same reveal and just move your brick mold and nail it to keep the same reveal going all the way down that piece of brick mold. I'll show you the nail pattern I like to use. After I get my reveal right here, let's say, that looks pretty good right there. I'll put one in this side, then I'll put one in the thick part of the brick mold. That way it holds it secure on each end so it doesn't rock back and forth. And then I'll do that about every 16 inches. So in order to get the measurement for this top piece of trim hooked to the brick mold on the outside of it, then pull it tight, your tape tight, and measure to the end on the outside of this brick mold. And it looks like we got 10 foot 3.5 inches. So that's going to be our long points to the top piece of that brick mold going across. So that can be very challenging to get that measurement with a 16-foot garage door, but the 10-foot garage door wasn't too bad, so you might need help just to get that measurement. Let's get that piece cut. So the first thing you got to do, just pick one side or the other on a piece of brick mold and just cut it at a 45-degree angle. So we're going to go ahead and turn our miter box to cut it this way first. So just put a 45, don't have to measure anything yet. Now since we made that cut, we got a point to measure off of. So we're going to hook our tape to this point and then pull it to get our mark that's going to cut our next 45. And this stuff's pretty flimsy, so it helps to have a nice stand to work off of. All right, so now we're going to turn our miter box going the other way. Some people call these miter boxes miter saws. It's the same thing, other than a miter saw is an actual electric saw. All right, now we're going to go test fit it and see if it works. All right, what we're going to do is go ahead and lay it up here and see if it fits. And that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do here in the middle is just kind of guess our reveal about a 1/4 inch and just tack one nail in it. The reason why I only tack one nail is because in case you got to adjust it some, you don't have a bunch of nails holding it down. All right, so now we go to each end and adjust that corner to make it look good. So if you remember me saying we only put one nail here, and that's in case we got to adjust this. So you can see it gives you a little flex So what I like to do is put my corner together tight, which that looks good right there. And I'll go ahead and just put one nail from the top into it, and then from the side. And that's going to hold that corner together very tight. And then nail it on this side and then into the heavy part of the brick mold, and then add that extra nail here. So now this corner is going to stay like this for a really long time. And what I'll do is go through and just take a little bit of caulk and caulk that seam. This stuff expands and contracts a lot. So even though you caulk it, you still might be able to see that little crack down the road, but you'll have those. Thank God for caulk. So your 45-degree angle should look something like this when it's all said and done. And that is not too bad of a job there. So sometimes it's hard to get these perfect, but in this case, it turned out really nice. So this is the final product of wrapping a garage door opening using PVC board. Not much to it, but it's something you may have never done before. And I wanted to show you what's going to happen on the inside of this opening. So over here, you're going to put drywall, of course, insulation, and then it's going to get a 2x6 going around the whole inside of this door opening, because that's what you need to support your garage door opener. And I want to show you the top here. Another thing I'm going to do is just flash across this top. So when water hits the side of the house, it rolls over the opening and it doesn't go behind that trim we just installed. And I'm putting vinyl here, and over here where this door opening is, it's going to get stone. So the thickness is going to be nice because it's going to pad out for that stone, because the stone's about 1 inch thick and this is about, I think, 1.25 inches thick. So that's going to work out really nice. If you have any questions about the door opening I just trimmed out, be sure to ask them in the comments below. And again, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house, saving a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, ring the bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.